What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Field Vision with Coach Clinton. I'm your host, Brian Clinton, contributor over at OUinsider.com. First loss of the year. It's out of the way. We're going to talk about it. I've got 10 plays that cost Oklahoma this game. After that, we're going to flush this. We're going to move on to Bedlam. But just wanted to give you guys some things to look at. Some things that the coaching staff and these players are going to look at after a disappointing loss up in Lawrence. Kansas gets the win 38-33. You know the drill. We're just going to jump right into this, and I'm just going to try and help you guys understand some of these plays that Oklahoma struggled with, and we're just going to go right into it. First play on the list. This is the pick six from Dillon Gabriel. So, oh man, I really do feel that this play is probably what had Oklahoma pull off the throw game pretty much from the get. There's 9 minutes, 33 seconds left. It's 3rd and 2. You've got an RPO look here from the Sooners. You've got 11 personnel, Nick Anderson up at the top, and Gavin Sawchuk in the backfield here. You notice Gabriel is watching the safety that is sitting over the top Anderson, who is working one-on-one with the corner, and the safety comes down in the box. Unfortunately, both Savion Byrd and Walter Rouse get beat by the guys on their side of the play, and that doesn't help Dillon Gabriel whatsoever. He has to make a decision here quicker than he wants to. What really hurts about this play is about the time that Dillon's able to get the ball out of his hand. If you look up at the top of the screen, Nick Anderson has his guy beat. He's got inside leverage on this corner. He's worked himself in a really good position. The safety is nowhere to help, and this is, potentially, this is a score, but you don't see the ball go there. You see the ball have to come down to the bottom of the screen, and this is a big no-no. And DG knows this. He's played more football than anybody on this team, and you're forced into making not only a late throw, but a late throw and the longest possible lateral throw you can from the middle of the field to outside the numbers. That's not something you do, and he knows that. Jalil Farouk obviously knows he needs to work back the ball in that situation instead of sitting and waiting for it to come to him. But this was just a bad play for OU, and obviously it puts points on the board for Kansas, sets up what was a good day for the Jayhawks, and a not a great day for the Sooners offense. So that's the first one that cost Oklahoma. Second play we're going to jump to here is I believe in the third quarter. Actually, we're gonna do it this way. It's in the third quarter. This is the Jalil Farouk fumble. Honestly, I think Jeff Levy just got too cute on this one. That's my personal take on it. You've got stacked wide receivers top and bottom, and you've got Jalil Farouk in the backfield. Look, he is an incredible athlete with the ball in his hands. He does a really good job creating space out in open field. He is a huge problem for defenders, but you also don't want to put this guy in the box taking on linebackers. He doesn't have the frame for that. And he gets absolutely buried here by a linebacker, the second guy to make contact, and it's a bad spot to put Farouk in, and he's obviously going to do whatever coaches ask him to do for the best of his team, for the best of the team, and sure, it looks good on paper, but I think this is one that you just hang up and you don't come back to. Just just my 2 cents on the ordeal. You've got running backs that obviously need the work. I don't believe at this point. I don't believe at this point that it's too early to give up on Gavin Sawchuk or Javonte Barnes. Tawee's hurt at this point in the game, and it really sucks that was the case. But you don't put Farouk back there. And the reason that this one hurts so badly is this was just a huge momentum shift. At this point in the game was because right after Farouk's fumble, the very, very next play is Bean's 38-yard touchdown run. Very next play. 3 minutes, 11 seconds left in the third quarter. This gives Kansas the lead. And so what we're looking at here, so Ford, you see Trace Ford here. He gets a little too aggressive coming after the running back here at the mesh point, and he gets 1 or 2 steps too far down the line of scrimmage, and Bean pulls it. And he's out of, not only is he indecisive at that point, but he's out of position to make the tackle. Kendall Dolby also takes a little bit too long to read what's going on here. You have to credit Bean for a good fake, obviously, but these guys both just take too long to make the read, and Bean is obviously plenty fast enough to make you pay for it. The other part of this that really hurts is that Kenai Walker, he didn't know what was going on until he was about at the 5-yard line, and at that point he's getting blocked. He had his back turned to the play the entire time, and the wide receiver sold him on this being a pass, and it clearly it wasn't. And it's just one of those. It's an unfortunate play for the Sooners where you've got 3 or 4 guys that just are either out of position or not aware of what's going on, and it costs you 6 points. Can't do that on the road, and that's kind of the way that it goes. So next play we're going to look at here is this is the sequence. This is the sequence that really has a lot of Sooner fans pissed off with what happened in this game, and that is that's the drive that followed Ethan Downs' big play to pick off Bean and set Oklahoma up inside Kansas territory. And we're looking at the 3rd and 13 play here. There's 2 minutes 19 seconds left in the game. Kansas is down to 1 timeout here. They had all 3 timeouts coming into this drive, and Jeff Lebby after the game said that he wanted to make sure that they used all of them, like the way that the running game had performed to this point, and then they wanted to pin Kansas deep. Look, we're just going to look at this. The wide receiver at the top of the screen is Jaden Gibson. He hadn't logged a catch all day. I believe he's had 1 catch in the last 3 games. The only thing you've used Gavin Freeman for is jet sweeps. Okay, which on another note needs to stop. Where's Drake Stoops? Where's Nick Anderson? Where are the guys that you can trust in clutch time? Why do we have 2 tight ends on the field in this play? Why is Javonte Barnes in the game and not Gavin Sawchuk? We've gone over this several times. But we look at this and what you've got here. You've got these 2 tight ends blocking out wide. You want the defensive end here to think that Gabriel could potentially pull the ball and get outside, so it creates a little bit of space. You're stretching the defensive line, and you're supposed to hug the double here. You're supposed to hug down behind Caden Green, between Caden Green and Jacob Sexton there. If you hug right off of that crease that's made, there's a gap. There's definitely room for Barnes to run there. And I'm sitting at this time. I'm sitting in the end zone with the offense coming toward me, and I can see it in the camera. And it just closes up. Because you see Barnes take a little bit of a step to the left. He ends up getting tackled, I believe, for a gain of 5 or 6 on this play. And we're actually going to stick right here in this sequence for a little bit, because the very next play is on my list for the 10 plays that cost Oklahoma. Nick Anderson's false start. There's not a whole lot to say here. It's pretty clear and evident that he jumps. Do we know if Oklahoma was truly going to run a play? It certainly looks like they were going to. Nick Anderson's got both hands on his head. It's you see Tyler Guyton kind of put his hands up on his head in frustration. You can tell that Drake Stoops is feeling some type of way about it. It's just it's a frustrating play. It's a frustrating situation for the Sooners. If they were going for it, you've now put yourself in 4th and 12. There's no reason to go for it at that point. So now you're forced to punt. Credit Luke Elzinga on this punt. It's fantastic. It's really, really well done. Ball lands, I believe, at the 3-yard line, and you've got guys down there to stop it. Problem is, they obviously don't listen to what they've been coached on this. You see Jacoby Johnson looking up for the ball. He apparently influences Robert Spears Jennings. He influences the long snapper. Nick Anderson and Jaquez Petaway down here at the bottom of the screen are trying to figure out what the heck's going on, and it rolls right into the end zone. And so it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot. You got a lot of young guys down there. I mean, between Petaway, Jacoby Johnson, Robert Spears Jennings, and Nick Anderson, there's not a junior down there on the play. So these are a bunch of young guys, and you kind of have a brain fart, and it leads to putting Kansas out on the 20-yard line. The next play we're looking at is the 1st and 10 off of that. The 1st and 10 off of that punt. And you've got a 3-man rush from the Sooners. Everybody else is playing man here. And Ethan Downs, I honestly believe if Ethan Downs is able to get Bean down right here, I think it changes the entire scope of the game. I think it changes the way the entire game goes. You put Kansas behind the chains. You got to get all those wide receivers back. You're running time off the clock, and you put them in a bad spot deep in their own field position. It changes what the opposing coordinator is willing to do. Of course, there's 2 minutes left in the game, so it's kind of score or die on this point. And so Downs isn't able to get in there. He's so close, and the margin for error in football, it's a game of inches, and he just didn't have quite what he needed to get Bean down, and Bean ends up picking up a first here, getting out of bounds, stops the clock, and the drive continues for Kansas. Just a couple of plays later, 1st and 10 here, and actually, I believe this is the very next play. Jaron Kanek, lapse in judgment. This one hurts as well. On plays like this, when you have the running back, become the escape valve down here, you're supposed to rally to him. You don't give up coverage behind you. You don't give up space or create a pocket behind you for the quarterback to throw into. And you can see Kanek kind of double guess. He kind of guesses. He gets his eyes on the running back. Second guesses what he's supposed to be doing. He comes up, and it opens up a hole here for I believe Mason Fairchild there, and you can't give up that kind of yardage, especially in a 2-minute situation. So, all right, a couple more plays go by here. You get Kansas into a 4th and 6. This is the play that that you hear Brent Venables post game talk about wishing he would have taken a timeout. He didn't, and there's a way of looking at it that it may have changed the game, because you can tell that these guys, the pass rushers, nobody is set when the ball is snapped. You've got all 4 guys standing up. They're all a yard from making contact with any of the offensive linemen. They're all gassed. I mean, you can see Jonah Laulu. I mean, he is just doing everything he can to stay upright, it looks like here. And there's just not enough pressure. And Bean ends up finding Lawrence Arnold. But if you look here, there's another angle. You can see that Kenai Walker makes a fatal mistake on this play. He turns his hips way too early. You can tell that Lawrence is not full go. He's not running vertical on this. He's waiting for Kenai Walker to turn those hips. He does. As soon as he does, he's able to create enough space to convert this huge play. And it really, this one really hurt the Sooners, because you've given up almost 40 yards on this play, and it killed any momentum that the Sooners defense had created by getting Kansas into fourth and 6. And so that one hurts. And then the last play, this one's actually uncharted. This one was actually back in the third quarter, and this one may have been the most important one. That's why I saved it until last. And this one falls squarely on Coach Venables, and I'm sure he would tell you that himself. You've got a fourth and 8. You just took a delay of game after trying to get Kansas to jump, and you have Jacoby Johnson run out late for punt. There's only 10 guys on the field. Jacoby Johnson runs out there, and instead of taking a delay of game and making it 4th and 13 when you're punting anyways, Coach Venables runs down, calls a timeout, burns a timeout, and it hurts, because at the end of the game, when you really needed to salvage as much time as you could possibly get, you have one of those timeouts already burned, and it was for nothing. And so those things really hurt. They catch up with you, and when you've got obviously several different plays that really hurt you somewhere along the way, they all pile up, and it leads to your first loss of the year. So it's time to put it behind you. You've got to move on to Bedlam. You've got a big time game here, most important game of the season. Obviously, the next game is always the most important with this team, but this game is truly the most important game of Oklahoma's season, because you either respond here, or you could see the team potentially tailspin. We don't. I don't expect that. I expect Oklahoma to put up a good fight this week, but that's time for the next video. And for tonight, we're going to call it quits tonight. Thank you guys so much for taking time to watch. And hopefully next time around, hopefully next week in the recap, we've got a little more excitement to talk about, a little more, more plays that got Oklahoma to win the football game rather than lose it. But that's just how it is, and we're going to help you guys learn along the way, regardless of the outcome. So thank you guys so much for checking these videos out. Make sure you're checking us out over at OUinsider.com. Brandon and Parker are doing everything that they possibly can to keep you up with the 2024 class, and starting to get into some of those 2025 guys as well. And then Jesse and I obviously do everything we can to keep you up to date on what's going on with the team there. Make sure you're checking us out over there, and we appreciate you guys' time. We will see you for the next video later on this week.